clients can vary in size, organization, and governance structures. Given this, what do you think are the most important considerations in working with nonprofit clients? I didn't have a volunteer to take this first, so I'll start out. I think we're going to hear more from our speaker about this too, but a couple things you've heard already is just to make sure you understand who the client is, and that means being really clear about the relationship between the executive director and the board, and then the board and the board president. I was on a project once where we thought, we had everything lined up with the ED and the board president resigned like on the second day that the team met. And, it torpedoed the whole project. So, it is important to check in with the rest of the board because sometimes the board president may not be in sync with the rest of the board. One other comment I would have is one of the things that you'll find pretty quickly if you haven't had a lot of experience with public benefit organizations is that the mindset is really quite different from the business school mindset, and it's just different. And I think that it's important to not assume that that your client is stupid. Okay, I mean this seems really obvious, but
ignorant but not stupid.
They really know, the content of what they're doing and their cause and their organization, and it's important to tap into that knowledge, understanding that you guys are bringing a completely different perspective that will be, novel and very valuable to them as well. And if you can figure out how to tap into that and really work together, then you can have a really great project.
Two things to amplify Cynthia's comments. Nonprofit organizations have a double bottom line, and so that's sort of shorthand for what you were talking about. And they may not be very good about the economic bottom line, or they may, but they're going to be focused on the units of good. They may not be very good at counting those either, although that's been improving. So always try to remember that, because if you're coming from a commercial world, it's going to be something that's going to be unusual to you, and we're always trying to balance that. And then the other thing I would say that's along those lines, oftentimes nonprofit organizations are not very experienced with analysis of financial figures. And the kind of drilling down that business school graduates do as a routine, easy thing is hard for them to get their arms around sometimes. And so you may think that they're stupid. In fact, it's just inexperience. And if we're lucky, we can impart that skill, and they will continue to do it after we're gone.
I'd say another thing I found useful when working with the clients is they do definitely have a different perspective than we're sort of used to coming from the nonprofit world. And so, the same language that we use may not always be attractive to them. They don't like words like incentivize and profit motive and all of that. But what you'll find is generally, since we have been brought in, clearly they see value in getting a business perspective. But you'll have people, one or two people, certainly your primary contacts generally, who are really engaged, and they really are hoping to get more of that business sort of practicality and advice. And then there'll be some people who are more on the, we're pure nonprofits. We don't need as much business advice. And to the extent that you can couch your language a little bit for the audience, it really helps, I think. That's what I found, that you just kind of try and use the right words depending on kind of who you're speaking with. So on the one-on-one meetings, you can be more ruthless in your language, and you'd want to be a little more, gentler when you're making certain suggestions in the broader audience.